one thing an employer wants to know in a job interview is if you have the skills and experience they are looking for. We often find asylum seekers don't get jobs because they can't speak about their skills and experience.
They need to be able to explain their skills to me so that I can test their English, so that we can have a communication, and so that I can see if their skills match the job ad.
To talk about your skills, you need to understand what skills the employer is looking for, identify the skills that you have, and talk about them in detail. What the employer is looking for can be found in the job ad. So how do you know if you've got the skills? It's in your resume. Remember, you are not the only applicant for the job. The employer needs to compare you with the other applicants. To do this, they need to understand what you have done, where you have done it, and how much experience you have. To do this, you need to give examples and use a technique called names and numbers. Let's look at some interviews. If you were the employer, which one would you give the job to?
So have you worked in a busy restaurant before?
Yes.
So have you worked in a busy restaurant before?
Yes, I worked at Sahar as a waiter for about 2 months. It's a restaurant in Dandenong, and I did the lunch and dinner shifts, and they sit around 100 customers a day.
Right.
Who do you think will get the job? So, can you see why an employer would choose the person who can talk about their work in detail? It makes it easier for them to believe you will know how to do the job well. In a job interview, you need to be clear and specific. This is because most of your experience has been overseas and the employer may not understand it. Instead of, I worked in a factory, you can say, I worked as a machine operator for 2 years in a factory that made plastic bowls and plates. There were 4 people using an injection moulding machine, and we produced more than 1,000 items a day. Names and numbers are a great way of proving you have what it takes to do the job. It encourages you to talk in detail about your skills and experience using the language of that industry.
Have you worked in a busy restaurant before?
Yes, I worked as a waiter at Sahar, an Afghan restaurant in Dandenong, for about 2 months. I did the lunch and dinner shifts, and they sit around 100 customers a day.
That's great. Can you tell me more about your role there?
Yeah, my role there included taking orders, handling cash, and also delivering the takeaway meal sometimes, and also helped in the kitchen when needed.
That's great.
How did Nasser know what to say in the interview? By reading the job ad carefully, he could see what the employer wanted and could think of what he had done that was relevant. You may not be sure how to answer questions about your visa. Being an asylum seeker, you are on a temporary visa, and you need to reassure the employer that your visa is of longer term nature and that you have the right to work. This is explained on your visa or the letter from the Department of Immigration that says nil conditions. You do not need to tell the employer that you are an asylum seeker. You just need to let them know that you have the right to work.
So what visa are you on?
I don't really know. I'm an asylum seeker and I think I'm on a bridging visa, but I'm not sure if I have work rights.
So what visa are you on?
I've applied for permanent residency. At the moment, I'm on a bridging visa until my application is processed. I do have the right to work in Australia.
So remember, you need to be clear, specific, able to explain your skills in simple English, use examples with names and numbers. Remember to check the ASEP website for more information.